Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ayun Damastuti, Magister Student of Mathematics Education, Universitas Sebelas Maret. In this section, allow me to present my article entitled Students' Reflective Thinking Ability based on their prior knowledge in solving geometry problems. Okay, and the first is Introduction. Mathematics is an important subject of education because it plays a role in development of teaching and other disciplines. Problem solving is the main focus on the learning process of mathematics in schools. Thinking skills are required in problem solving, one of which is reflective thinking. Reflective thinking is also of the must-have ability and is developed in mathematics learning. Reflective thinking helps students to make sense of experience at the highest level of critical thinking. And next, problem solving in addition to involving reflective thinking skills is also influenced by student prior knowledge. This is in line with Pentateuch, which states that prior knowledge are abilities that have been attached to a person and related to new things that he will learn. Aaron's explained that prior knowledge can be distinguished in three categories, namely high, moderate, and low. The literary review, reflective thinking, is also defined as an active and rigorous activity referring to knowledge whereby a person who has reflective thinking will use his attitude and knowledge to make decisions. Sihaluho Zulkarnain Hairun explained that reflective thinking is the persistent use of memory to provide important information, connect the personal experience, and draw conclusions on problem-solving phase. Geometry studies point lines with fields and space along with their properties, size, and relation to each other. Geometry is one of the branches of mathematics that helps students to be able to relate abstract mathematical concepts with something more concept as a stimulus for deeper understanding. The problem of this study, student mathematical reflective thinking, have not been developed well by students and teachers. Student tendency to study mathematics focus only on memorizing formulas. Solihah and Afriansah state that the majority of students have difficulty in applying formula to solve geometry problems. Not infrequently, students don't understand the meaning of the given problem. Mathematics learning today still tends to use conventional approach. Teachers emphasize the delivery of materials, formulas, sample questions, and procedure of their work. Assessment are generally still oriented to the student learning outcomes, not on the learning process. The questions used for the assessment of the majority of learning outcomes are also still routine questions whose work procedures are clear. This causes students' thinking ability to still not be well trained. The methodology. This research is descriptive qualitative that describe all facts, phenomena, and symptoms without manipulation. This study describes all student reflective thinking ability to solve geometry problems based on reacting, elaborating, and contemplating component. Subject selection using purposive sampling. The subject used in this study were grade 8 students of the 2020-2021 school year 1 of the State Junior High School in Wonogiri, Central Java. The instrument used is a test in solving geometry problems to measure student reflective thinking ability. The data is analyzed with stages of data reduction, data presentation, and conclusion withdrawal. This is the table of reflective thinking ability indicators with modification from Prastyawati and Kartina. The result of this study, first is subject with high prior knowledge. Subject S1 reads and understands the problem carefully. Subject S1 is able to correctly identify and write down the information on the question. Subject S1 is able to select relevant information to solve problems. Subject S1 is able to transform problem into mathematical models on the concept of Pythagoras. Subject S1 is able to choose the right concept and formulas and is able to connect the information available to solve the problem. Subject S1 to check and write the written answer. This can be seen from the answer of the subject S1, who is able to write down and what is noun, what is S, and applying the right formulas and concept to solve the problem. Subject S1 has also been to write the conclusion correctly. Subject S1 is able to think reflectively well. The subjects with moderate prior knowledge on the result. This subject S2 reads and tries to understand the problem. Subject S2 was able to correctly identify and record information about the problem. Subject S2 is confused and couldn't choose relevant information to solve the problem. So the answer 1 written by subject S2 was also wrong. Question 2. Subject S2 can correctly identify and write down the information in the question. Subject S2 is confused and therefore unable to correctly apply concept and formulas to solve the problem. Subject S2 didn't carefully check the written answer, so the answer is incorrect. The conclusion written subject S2 is also wrong. Subject S2 didn't show good reflective thinking ability because it only meets some reacting indicators. Subject with low initial ability. The description is subject S3 reads and tries to understand the problem. Subject S3 is able to correctly identify and write down the information in the question. Subject S3 is not able to select relevant information to solve question number 1. So the answer number 1 written by subject S3 is also incorrect. Problem number 2. The subject of S3 is able to identify and write down the information in the question correctly. Subject S3 was confused and unable to understand the meaning of the problem. Subject S3 is not able to choose what concept and formula are appropriate to solve the problem. So the answer written is still wrong. Subject S3 also doesn't double check the written answer. The conclusion written by subject S3 is also incorrect. The subject S3 has not shown good reflective thinking ability as it only meets some indicators on reacting. The discussion. Subjects with high prior knowledge are able to use their knowledge and experience to overcome difficulties in solving problems on the question. This is because subjects with higher prior knowledge always try to solve new problems so that he is able to solve the problem faced. Subjects in all three categories are able to understand the information on the problems and convert it into mathematical form. The results are relevant to Ramasamy and Puteh research that students are able to turn information into math problems despite difficulties. Subjects with high prior knowledge are able to connect information with concepts that have been learned to solve problems. This is relevant to the research conduct Handayani et al. And Ikram et al. That students are able to connect concepts for problem solving even though the concept has been studied for a long time. 2 of the 3 subjects taken didn't re-examine the written answer. Re-examining answer minimized errors, so settlement steps should be carefully evaluate. The conclusion, the discussion. Student reflective thinking differs in each category of prior knowledge. This is in line with Suharna's statement that difference in prior knowledge cause difference in the ability to solve math problems. Nindiasari et al. State that the higher the prior knowledge of student, the higher the achievement and ability to think reflectively in solving math problems. Conclusion. Student reflective thinking differs in each category of prior knowledge. Student with high prior knowledge is able to think reflectively well. This is shown by student being able to meet all three components of reflective thinking. Students with moderate and low prior knowledge are only able to meet some indicators on reacting component and have not been able to meet some indicators on the elaborating and contemplating components. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.